The Magnus Effect with Magnus Carlsen and Magnus Barstad.
Welcome to the first episode of The Magnus Effect. I am Magnus Carlsen.
And I am Magnus Barstad. We decided to go with the exact same name this time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not confusing at all when you when you handshake with someone. It's like, my name is Magnus. Yeah, my name is Magnus too. But it's easier that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Our first episode ever, and today we are going to be talking about our trip to Vegas. We are gonna do the first bet ever for this pod. Like, this is a sports and betting podcast, so we are going to do some bets. Magnus, the other Magnus, he's gonna talk a little bit about the upcoming World Chess Championship. And at the end, we are gonna have the first of many wagers. It's we'll introduce that when we get to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just start off with part one. Welcome to the pod.
The Magnus Effect is brought to you by UniBet. By players, for players.
So I got here from Madrid, where I did a few sponsor events for Puma, MasterCard, some for Chess24 as well. And the plan was to stay here for one day and then start playing the main event. What happened is the morning after I arrived, a lot of people I knew, they started messaging me saying that I should play the main event that day instead of the next, because it would probably be 10-handed the next day, and then it would be very, very crowded at the table. And they said it would be pretty much like flying coach, and I was thinking, I'm not too keen on doing that. After what had been a pretty long travel, so I decided to play the very same day. I have to say, overall, I'm not very proud of my performance in the main event. Usually when you play a tournament, I mean, I wouldn't know, but you can think of like a few spots whereas like, oh yeah, I made a pretty good decision there, or yeah, this could have gone either way, but I thought it through. I'm happy with the line I took, and so on. I cannot think of a single time that happened. It was just a train wreck.
Was it worth it?
No, it was okay. The trip, we'll talk about the trip later, but I feel kind of, it's a kind of a bummer to play the main event and not do more. Like, a lot of people bust on day one. You'd rather do it the way one of my buddies did, when he had a very nice stack over 100k, and he just punted it all off on the first day, bluffing 3 streets with queen high. It got called with ace high. That was just that was brilliant. So I'll tell you that I had a couple of drinks later that night with that guy, and another one of his friends who had actually survived day one, but with a very short stack. And we went to this horrible place where they had like all these different sour beers, and basically, the two of us, we just wanted to chug down a couple of beers before going to sleep. This other guy, he had been here for like a month, and he had a small stack. He wasn't going to play the next day, but the day after, it was like, oh, but he actually had I think he had a master's or a bachelor, either one of them, in brewing. So he just wanted to show us some really nice beers that we could try. Anyway, so we said, yeah, sure. Let's taste this beer. Yeah, spoiler alert, we chugged it down anyway. It was horrible. Anyway, this guy, for all the mocking we put on him for his sour beers, which were horrible, that nobody should drink.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I understand, like, if you've studied it and everything,
but why study it?
I know, but anyway, he was definitely a very very nice, friendly guy. We all talked for a little bit. Then we went home. And the guy with the short stack, he had a pretty nice day 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. However many days it lasted, and he won the main event. So I guess overall his strategy worked pretty well. And to be fair, I watched a bit. He played amazing, and he was a massively deserved winner. So.
Yeah. He actually played amazing.
Yeah, he did play amazing. Yeah. So that was the main event story. And what can I say? I did horribly, but at least I did get to mock the main event winner, which I think was deserved.
You got the mocking for sour beers. I don't know. I'll guess. I guess we'll take it. But was the bluff you had in the main event? Just very shortly, was that the worst bluff you've had in Vegas playing poker?
No, that's not even close to the worst bluff. So I'll tell you, I played cash another day at the Bellagio, the fairly high stakes game, and it went well. I had a solid win there. Then there was this influencer streamer game, which kind of went haywire in many ways, production wise. A couple of people didn't show up, which was unfortunate, but that's something that can happen. Economically for me, it went okay. I mean, I just decided that I was going to play really, really simple poker, and
everyone folded every time you did anything, though.
Yeah, but that was okay. Like, I didn't have any major spots where I wanted to great action, so that was okay. Like, people also folded when I didn't want to get action. So,
but everyone wants to hear about the worst bluff ever.
Yeah,
because you might have had
it. But yeah, so there was one other session where I just decided to play some. What was it, like 10-20
yeah.
at the hotel we're staying. So it started out fine. I won a nice spot early on when I caught a bluff on the river. Then nothing much happened until I decided to. I mean, there was a straddle there, so we were playing 10, 20, 40. One guy from.
Then you're basically pot committed, right?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, so what happened was that a couple of guys limped. The small blind made it 220. I decided to get a little bit frisky from the straddle, and I made it 550. All the guys folded. The guy from the small blind, who was clearly like a good player, which I could see from the other hands he'd played, I just decided I wanted to try and outplay it. I had 4-3 of hearts, by the way. Yeah, so he called. The flop came 10-8-7, a couple of clubs. I decided to lead out for 300. He made it 720. And at this point, I thought, okay, I kind of want to leave. I'm sick of playing. I've been playing for like 1.5 hours at that point. I can leave now. I'll have like a small loss, no worries. Or I can just rip it. So I ripped it for like 1900 more. He didn't even think for 1 second before calling. The turn was a jack. No, it was a 9. River was like some big card. I don't remember, like a king or something. Anyway, I mean, I was not even close to not playing the board. So I just mucked my card and left with.
You basically had the worst hand you can have.
I had the. Oh no! There was a deuce. No, obviously the river was a deuce. So I had the absolute anti-nuts.
Which is also something, and that's the last hand you played, right?
Yeah, that was the last hand. Yeah. I mean, I figured the guy probably had jacks or something. I didn't even care. I was never going to play with any of those guys ever again. So yeah, no, the first bluff I talked about, I think it was reasonable. Maybe I should have sized up, but this one I didn't even believe in. I just wanted to punt off.
Yeah. So yeah, some bad play, some good play. I guess we'll summarize that. And you shouldn't just shrug off the worst bluff of all time. It's something to remember, definitely. So we have been now in Las Vegas for 2 weeks, almost, just about 2 weeks. I can say that 2 weeks in Vegas might just be a tad on the heavy side.
Yeah, I would say the first week was great. Poker was obviously up and down, but we had a lot of fun things. We had the Summer League as well, which is Summer League in general.
Yeah, Summer League is great.
Summer League is great. Yeah. For me, I mean, 2 weeks was probably too much to begin with, but especially since I started to feel a bit sick on Sunday last week, and then I mean the last week I haven't been able to do much at all. I went to Summer League one day when we were invited by Daryl Morey and the Sixers, which was very nice, but I wasn't feeling great and I had to leave at halftime, and I got even worse.
On that note, I have to tell you the story that I refused to tell you.
Okay, nice. I've been waiting.
So the NBA Summer League is something that it's held in Vegas every summer. It's the prospects and the draft picks and people trying to get into the NBA. It's just loads of games at the Thomas and Mack Center, and it's just a lot of fun. It's
highly recommended.
Yeah, highly recommended.
If you're a massive basketball nerd.
If you're a massive basketball nerd. We'll also get into that later. We are both massive basketball nerds, like massive, not American massive basketball nerds. But at that after halftime at the Philly Heat game, when you were invited by Daryl Morey, Magnus decided to go home because he was feeling properly under the weather, and I decided to stay for the second half. So when Magnus leaves as soon as halftime buzzer goes, we stand up on the floor and we just stand chatting, right? So it's me, Daryl Morey, and Coach Jaeger, and the other guy who I actually unfortunately can't remember the name of, the chess player.
Oh, yeah. Who cares?
But he was great to talk to though. So sorry about not remembering names. Absolute delight. Anyway, over comes JJ Redick, NBA player JJ Redick, now turned announcer. He is calling the game. So he's calling the game for ESPN.
Oh, he mistook you for me, didn't he?
So JJ Redick comes over.
No.
And he just shakes Daryl's hand and he goes, all right, Daryl, great to see you. And then he shakes my hand and he goes, JJ. And I go, Magnus, as I do, my name is Magnus. And he goes, yeah, great. I'm a huge fan of you. So I'm like, what? JJ Redick is a huge fan of me? And he just looks at me like, that's serious? Yeah, I follow all your stuff. You're a great champion. And at that point, I'm realized, oh, Jesus, he's talking about the other Magnus. He is not aware that other Magnus has gone. I'm a massive NBA fan, and I really like JJ Redick as a player and as an announcer, so I'm not at my peak game right here. I obviously should have gone with the joke. I obviously should have gone with the joke, but it would have got so much better than even I could have imagined. So I say at that point that I'm not you, and I'm a different guy, and he's very polite, and we talk a little bit about sports betting, blah, blah, blah. And he walks off again. We sit down, and Daryl says, you shouldn't have said that was you. Why? Because JJ wanted to invite Magnus on ESPN to commentate the game with him in the second half. That could have been you pretending to be, you could have been the Magnus Carlsen poster for the whole second half. And I'm like, no! Practical, like absolute golden practical joke went out the window. That's why I said it's a good story, but I'm mainly just killing myself.
Wow.
That would have been great.
I mean, a little bit of quick thinking in that spot, like perform under pressure.
Yeah,
I know.
As I said, I'm taking just. I don't think anyone could be a harsher critic than I am of myself in a spot like that. I'm absolutely killing myself over that. That would have been so great. Because you know how it goes on ESPN, and it goes Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion. And it's my bald fat ass sitting there talking about Kenny Lafton Jr. It could have been great. Anyway, another thing about, because we briefly went onto the Americans, and as maybe most listeners know, we are both Norwegian, or at least you're Norwegian. I'm Norwegian as well. And Norwegians were kind of closed off people, right? Yeah. We don't walk up to strangers and just talk to them.
Nope.
No, Americans do though.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. They really, really do. And if they hear you have a different, like a different dialect, or you speak a different language, they're all over it. Like, where are you from? So I've actually had more encounters with random people the last 2 weeks than I've had probably the last 2 years, at least. Oh, that's under COVID, last 10 years probably. Because they just come up and start talking to you, which I find a bit annoying, but it's okay. Our standard answer has been, why are you here? We're here to watch the Summer League and play some poker, right?
Yeah.
So I just have to tell people about two of the Americans that came up to me and started talking, and I said, like, oh yeah, we're here to watch the Summer League. We've been every day. We love basketball. So there was this one guy who went, yeah, basketball, that's my favorite sport. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, so you like basketball, cool. We can actually have a conversation then. And I was like, okay, so, have you been to Summer League? No, is that in Vegas? Yes, I live in Vegas. I didn't know. I was like, what? There are posters all over. I don't live here all year, but I live here. Okay, you haven't noticed the Summer League being here every year. That's okay. So I understand quickly that this might not be, he might not be that into basketball as he stated from the start. But I give it another props. I'm like, so who's your favorite team? Oh, I'm a huge Miami Heat fan. He's from Miami. He lives part-time in Miami, part-time in Vegas. Huge Miami fan, been to loads of games, grew up massive fan, played basketball all his life. And then he just tells this, like, he tells it with such confidence that he's like the biggest basketball fan and he loves the Heat. And then he asks me the following question. Is Dwayne Wade still playing? How can you do that?
I don't know. Maybe he used to be. Yeah, it's hard.
That's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as the next one.
No, the next one is worse. The next one is a lot worse.
So when you played the celebrity poker game, a girl came up to me and, just hello, or started talking, and same thing, Summer League. Oh, I love basketball. It's my favorite sport of all time. I'm such a basketball fan. It's my go-to sport, blah, blah, blah. All the things. Like she sounds like she's 100 times bigger fan of the NBA than both of us combined, right? Oh, I love basketball. Actually, I started going to San Antonio games in 2016. Like, I loved the Spurs when I lived there. I went to loads of games. So I just went for a safe one. I was like, all right, so you got to watch the great Team Duncan at the end then. Who? What? What? You've been to loads of San Antonio games and you don't know who Team Duncan is? No, but I moved to Denver quite shortly after, and I just went to loads of Nuggets games. I love going to Nuggets games. I've been like, I had like a season ticket with my friend, and we went all the time. I was like, okay, so you went all the time. Then you had to have seen the great Nikola Jokic, the 2-time MVP of the league. Who? Then she went, like, I'm not like you. I'm not like a nerd. I don't know the players' names.
Did she understand when you described like the really tall, skilled white dude?
I said you have to have noticed the 7'1" weird-looking white dude who's just killing everyone every game. Not really.
Wow. To be fair, didn't Duncan retire in 2016?
Yeah, then she probably caught the tail end of him. That's what I said to her.
Okay, maybe if she like moved early 2016, then
okay, she might have gotten that. She might have gotten that.
She might have gotten away on the technicality there. But,
yeah,
but the Jokic, that's a big fat L.
Yeah, but still, if you go to loads of Spurs games, like I would almost bank on you knowing who he is. But like being a season ticket holder at Nuggets games and don't know who Jokic is, that is just beyond anything.
No, but I went to, just to put it in a Norwegian context, I went to a Vålerenga game recently.
Yeah.
And apparently the kids don't know who Morten Berre is.
Yeah.
So,
Did he retired 15 years ago?
No.
At least 10.
6 years ago, maybe.
No, come on. Someone needs to find the fact there.
We're not going to check it, but...
he has to be close to 50, like 47, 8.
Yeah, but he played pretty...
Okay, no, we have to
maybe like 8 years
we
ago.
could Google this right now, but we're not going to do it.
We're not going to do that, obviously.
Obviously not going to do that.
Anyway, but yeah, I think that's typically American, like, oh, I'm such a big fan. There's also people who are such big chess fans, and then they know very little, which is,
for example,
okay.
JJ Redick.
Which is okay. Sorry, JJ.
No, we actually really like JJ. I'm not holding this against him because I think that's just the way they are. Like, it's so overstated. It's crazy. Yeah, we're not here to kill Americans though. Any more than this. We've enjoyed our stay.
I'm
fairly.
So happy that I didn't stay after halftime.
Yeah.
I would have been, of course, even happier if you had gone through with the whole thing.
Yeah.
At some point, it must have they must have caught it. But
yeah,
who knows? Like I saw this documentary the other day.
It could have gone on. I think I could have sat through it.
You know, I saw this documentary. I talked about the documentary I saw on ESPN the other day, The Great Imposter, of the late 70s and start of 80s. Like, you could have been the new one. This could have kickstarted your career.
But you told me about that documentary the day after this happened.
I know.
It's so bad. If I'd had that inspiration, I would have definitely gone for it. We have to do one more thing before we wrap the Vegas part of this up. It's the... Okay, so we have stayed at the win, right?
Yeah.
We'll just do a short review on the win.
So, good things, bad things. I mean, a lot of good things.
Yeah.
It's feels cleaner, a bit newer, a bit nicer.
Quite spacious.
Spacious.
Yeah. Rooms are nice.
Yeah. The club was okay.
Yeah.
Shaq was there, which was
great.
Pretty great. Few things that are not that great.
Okay, so about 5 NBA teams or the summer league teams are at the hotel, right?
Yeah, I mean, no more. I think because there were a few both at Encore and at Win.
Yeah, and the showers are at like 5'11".
Yeah, which is really bugging.
It's annoying for us. You're 5'11" or 6 foot. You're 6 foot.
Yeah,
you're 6 foot. I'm 6'1". Like it's annoying. But how about the 7 foot guys? And it's not like they're hung up under the roof. You've got a full meter on top of them that you could. It's crazy. It's like it must be really annoying for them to get in the shower at the 5-star hotel. Anyway, keep going.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Just yesterday, I saw a couple of like 6'10", 7 foot guys. I think one of them was Mark Williams. Didn't recognize the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were some American tourists like taking pictures with them. They had no idea who they were. They were like, just like, oh,
tall
you're
basketball players.
You're so tall.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not bang your head into the wall every time? And like, oh, they probably never heard that before. No. That's nice.
Well, they probably never heard that they're tall before since they're 7 foot.
Anyway, yeah. So things that weren't that great. Well, first of all, food.
There is the food. The quality of the food is good, but there is nowhere to get food.
Yeah, that's the main problem. It's really, really hard to get food.
Like
room service takes forever.
Yeah, it's impossible to get food under an hour. Like in under an hour, it's impossible.
And everywhere else is just overbooked, long lines. I mean, I was walking around the Bally's, or Bally's, maybe it's just called, in one of the breaks of the World Series. I was shocked to see there were so many restaurants.
Yeah,
I was thinking like they can't possibly all be profitable, but like my friend, he just said, no. I mean, this is America. As soon as something is losing money, they just shut it down.
Yeah.
Everything's profitable. And when I was looking in the restaurants, every one of them was full. Yeah. Like, and there were restaurants on every corner. I mean, it was just shocking. And Win more spacious.
Win and Encore, 2 massive hotels, 5 restaurants.
Yeah.
6 maybe.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And they were constantly all full. As you said, quality, excellent. But that was...
Availability of breakfast?
Yeah.
Like crazy bad. But there is one thing. One last thing we need to close off this Vegas part with. And it's the lost cards. The hotel keys.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I'm a chess player. Chess players lose stuff. Or a lot of chess players lose stuff. I do. Like every time that I'm staying at a hotel, I'm gonna either lose a key or just leave it in the room at least once. So it happened to me once this time. I stood in a little bit of a line at the reception, and it was okay. There was a long line, but I thought it was like there was one line for people who were checking in and one line for people who just wanted other services. And it was okay. It took a little bit of time, more than I would have liked. Yeah, so it took a little bit of time, which is annoying, mildly annoying, but it was okay. I think people ahead of me in line, they had genuine worries that they needed to take care of. So the next time I lose my key, I mean, the same thing happens again. Like immediately when I leave the room, I realized, I haven't got my room key. Okay, so I go down. I stand in the same line. There's one family, father and 2 girls in front of me. And they're taking forever and I realize they're checking in, which is a little bit weird, but okay. Anyway, it takes forever. I'm sure there were legitimate worries, but there was so much back and forth. This takes 20 minutes. Anyway, I get to the front of the line, and I ask the guy, so sorry, I lost my key. It's possible to get a new one. And he says I have to get him back of the line, which is, I think, not ideal. First of all, in the sense that there should be like a separate line for people who are not checking in, but want services that take from 10 seconds till a minute. But, I mean, he did notice that I was standing in line for 20 minutes, so it would have been a nice courtesy to tell me then. But then he said, like, I thought you were with the others. And I'm thinking and then saying, oh, that's a bit weird. First of all, we don't look particularly alike, so it's unlikely that we'd be a family. Secondly, I got there a lot later. Also, I didn't talk to them at all.
You don't have any luggage.
I don't have any luggage. It all seems a bit.
Yeah.
It all seems a bit weird. So I'm not particularly inclined at this point to go back in line. And I ask him, like, I understand that I'll go back in line the next time, but seriously, this is going to take 10 seconds. It's like, no, you have to go back in line. And then another guy who's gotten in line behind me, he gets to the he goes to the counter and asks for some toothpaste, and he's like about to go, like, sure, I can get you that. And at this point,
that's just a joke, though.
Yeah, at this point, I pull a massive dick move. And I said, look, this guy clearly has to get in the back of the line. If I have to get in the back of the line, I understand that his request is even smaller than mine. But still, he has to get back as well. And so he's like, yeah, okay, you have to get back. And then I just stood there for a little bit. And I think he was feeling also a bit embarrassed by the whole situation. Well, I wasn't feeling embarrassed. I was just...
You're just pissed off.
I was just feeling a bit... I was feeling pretty under the weather at that point. I was pissed. I was dehydrated. And I was just...
Probably hungry because there's no way
hungry
to eat.
as well. I wasn't going anywhere at that point. So at some point he just felt embarrassed. And he just decided to say, fuck it, give me a key. Fortunately, I had my idea, so it literally took 10 seconds. Anyway, the next day, which was yesterday, I leave my room in the evening. Wouldn't you know?
You pat I can see you patting your pockets and you go, fuck, I did it again.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm always checking passport, phone, cash, key. Oh, no key. And I have like 4 pockets, so it's easy to check. So I go to the reception. Good news.
No line.
Two people in line. It's very easy. So I immediately get to the front.
Yeah, you can go in the proper way.
Bad news. It's the same guy at the reception. Anyway, I sort of sheepishly go up, like, wouldn't you know it? Lost my key again. I'm really, really sorry. To be fair, I said that I was really sorry a couple of times. he didn't look me in the eye once, gave me my key, and that was the end of the story.
Do you want to know? No, it isn't the end of the story. And how you didn't discover this even today baffles me beyond anything. So both times you were going to get your key, you had your passport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see those machines on the left?
What?
By checking, you can just press missed key, put your passport in, and get a new key out from the machine.
Okay, so to be fair...
He could have said that, though.
To be fair, he could have said that. And the first time, the ones before me in line, they specifically asked why the machine did not work.
Oh, the machines didn't work the first time?
Yeah,
okay.
But they did work the second time, and they did work today at checkout, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah. I laughed. Okay. Took a little bit of the sting out of it for me, but when I checked out on those machines today and I saw they had lost card there, I was laughing so hard, like it was embarrassing how hard I laughed at it. Okay. Anyway, that was Vegas.
Yeah, that was Vegas. Ups and downs. A little bit too long. Wish I hadn't gotten sick. Probably will affect me. Nah, it's okay.
The Magnus Effect with Magnus Carlsen and Magnus Barstad. Brought to you by UniBet.
Okay, welcome back. So we are gonna get into one of the segments that we're gonna try to have every time. One of the things that I bring to the table in this pod is that I have been a professional sports bettor now for about 10 years, and together with UniBet that we were both cooperating with, we are gonna try to give you some good bets that you can follow or not follow, whatever you like. And we're gonna start it off with the season bet, and it's our fellow Norwegian who's gone to Man City for a major transfer, huge star. We're proud of Erling Braut Haaland, right? Erling Braut Haaland, which we would say.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, we're proud of the lad. He's really good.
Yeah.
So he's gone to City. Major move. He's expected to be the top goal scorer in the Prem. He's leading the odds. He's four times the. So if you hear this podcast and you're English or American or whatever, we are gonna do the European style odds. They are by far the easiest odds to calculate. So we're gonna do the numbers. You have to, if you have to get your calculator out to understand it, be my guest. But anyway, he's the leading favorite to be the top goal scorer in the Prem now at 4 times the money before Salah. Any thoughts on that?
I can see that. I think the two of them are clearly the two hottest candidates to be the top scorer. I think Son, although he is probably the greatest finisher in football apart from Messi, had an unsustainably hot season last year and is probably going to regress a bit. The wild card is Kane.
Kane is definitely the wild card.
Yeah. Other candidates, we can talk about Nunez if you want. I said before that I believed he was going to be a bust. That was before he went to Liverpool, which hasn't changed my mind, but it's made me a little bit less confident in that particular take. Because they usually don't miss on these
big transfers. No.
Big transfers.
No, they don't.
Like generally they've hit most of the transfers recently, but especially the big ones, they haven't really missed at all. My thing was that to me it seemed like he couldn't do too much except scoring, and that he would be a liability in link-up play, and that he was also running unsustainably hot in the one really, really good season he had last year. But now that... Anyway, I'm derailing the conversation. He's not going to be close to the top scorer in the
No,
Prem.
I don't think he's going to be the top scorer. Because there's one important...
I mean, if he scores 17 goals, that's very, very good.
Yeah, his line is 14.5. Which I would say him scoring between 12 and 17 goals just sounds bang on.
Bang on. I agree. Before he went to Liverpool, I was telling people that if his line is... If he goes to, let's say, Arsenal, I would bet on him scoring... I would bet the under on 12.5. At Liverpool, obviously, I wouldn't. But, yeah, 14.5... Yeah, it's probably bang on, unfortunately.
But we're getting back to Erling, right?
Yeah.
So hold on. His line is, and I've as soon as he signed, you could see all the big accounts on Twitter and all the small accounts for that matter, people just going crazy. He's gonna score 40 goals, blah blah blah. And I think he's so good that he can score 40 goals for City, no doubt. I think he can score 45 even. But there's a couple of things that I like to check off when I do these bets. And okay, so there is a massive hype on him scoring a lot of goals, which should mean the line is a couple of ticks higher than what it should be, because people want to bet the high line on him, right? Then, secondly, you have to look at how old is he, how sustainable is he, and his fitness. And he just turned 22 a couple of weeks ago, I think. He has been quite injury prone, and that's been for playing for the Norwegian national team and for Dortmund. And now he's going to play in an even tougher league, and he's going to play a lot more games. They have a lot more games. So the question...
I don't think he's going to play a lot more. I mean, I have a hard time seeing him play 3 games a week, basically, ever.
That was my whole point there. Because they have a lot more games, but is he gonna play a lot more games? That is the question where I think where most people miss the mark on stuff like this. He played 20... he scored 22 and 27 in the 2 first seasons at Dortmund, and he played 2,000 and 2,400 minutes. I would not be shocked if he doesn't play a lot more than 2,000 minutes for City in the Prem next year.
No. And as you've seen before, Aguero has scored 20 plus goals on 2,000 minutes before.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. He's never been a high minutes guy. He's always missed. He's always missed games. Is he really gonna score 25 goals
in his first season? He's a young player, he's a physical beast, but they're gonna be playing at all fronts, very, very likely. They're playing in both domestic cups, they're playing well into the Champions League. He's gonna be playing for the national team, and he's gonna be playing in the Prem. Yeah. He's a young player. I think if he's ever gonna get to the 40 goal mark in the Prem or the 35 goal mark, I think it's in 2 or 3 years when his body is better worked in, when he's done growing, done learning the league, done settling into the player he's gonna be. Because physically and just being a top tier professional doesn't come that easily when you're 22 years old. And I think he, for his potential, it's crazy because I don't think he's even touching the top of his potential. But that's my point. I think he's a couple of years off being the absolute model pro.
No, I agree. And I think he could be the best goal scorer the Premier League has ever seen.
Yep, I agree.
There's, I would say, since Alan Shearer, there hasn't been...
Nah, there's been flashes, but I agree.
No, but there hasn't been a single great goal scorer.
It has to be Aguero.
Yeah, Aguero is the closest, but just he never
out and out goal scorer.
No, I mean, there's nobody on the level of
not even close.
Madrid. I mean, there's Madrid, Ronaldo, or Barcelona, Messi, or any of
Nope.
Or Bayern Lewandowski or
Not like a
anything
guy who can touch 40 goals. There hasn't been like Salah got to 32.
Even people like even Higuain Napoli hasn't happened. You know, I mean, okay, that was one season, but you know.
I agree. So if we look at the last 4 seasons in the Prem, the top goal scorer has had 23, 22, 23, 22. 5 seasons ago, Salah scored 32.
Yeah.
Right? But it's been under 4 seasons in a row. And we've been talking a little bit Aguero, and I was deep diving a little bit more into that. And I think that is a great place to start looking, because right now they've been, it's been Jesus, it's been Sterling, and it's been whatever up front there, right? And they've been for 2.5 seasons now just interchanging who play up front.
Yeah, and it works great, by the way.
It works great, but it's also left people thinking, oh, City has never had a number 9. Well, they've had a pretty clear number 9 for about 8.5, 9 seasons. So Aguero for City, he's played 31, 22, 20, 30, 29, 25, 22, 31, 18, and that starts. All of that starts. Yeah. He's on those seasons scored 23, 12, 17, 26, 24, 20, 21, 21, 16. So in all that time, he went over the line once.
Yeah.
I agree. Aguero's not Erling Braut Haaland. Aguero might even be a little bit better finisher, actually. Like, the average of that career might just be a little bit better. But anyway, I think they had a world-class striker. They get a new world-class striker in. I think it's pretty... I think you can draw some parallels between those two. And
yeah, also in terms of games, like I think in certain games, it's just not going to make sense to start Haaland, even if he's if he's fit.
No, I agree.
So I think especially if he has these little periods where he's not doing enough for the team, like you know how Pep is. You play 1 or 2 bad games, and Pep's just gonna like bench you for a few.
Then he benches you for a game, brings you in at the end of the next one, starts you in the Champions League after that.
Yeah.
Or like he's gonna get loads of playing time, but I'm looking at the 24.5 goal line, and I like everything in me screaming under. I would have put the line at 19.5, I think.
No, I agree. We talked about this a few months ago. We were pretty aligned coming up with this independently. We were thinking that the line was probably going to be 22.5, and we were still on a pretty hard under.
Yeah.
So this is
it's 2 goals over what we thought.
Yeah, this is a massive under.
Yeah, it's a massive
Obviously,
under.
We hope he's going to be...
Yeah, it's a hedge.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope he's going to be amazing, but everything screams under here.
Yeah. And I think like, oh, so you don't think it's going to be a success? No, say if he scores 20 in the Prem. He scores 10 in the Champions League and 6 in the domestic cups.
He's not going to score 6 in the domestic cups.
You don't think so?
He's not going to play a bunch in the domestic. I mean, if he plays a bunch in the domestic cups, just means he's not. Yeah, he's going to play the last.
Kind of cares about the semis and the finals, and they usually put a good team out for those.
Yeah, they do. But semis and finals, those are not a lot good. He's okay. Whatever.
This is a hard sidetrack. But let's say he scores 30-ish goals, 22 years old, first season. I think that is pretty accurate total line for him, because I don't think he's gonna play more than the average of Aguero games. If you tell me that he's starting 34 games in the Prem, I would never bet the under. But I'm quite certain he's had loads of small injuries the last 2 years, like loads of them. He's quite explosive, so he keeps getting those explosive type injuries. My guess would be he starts 20, somewhere between 22 and 27 games.
Another way you could look at it is, apart from last season, Jesus, where, I mean, City didn't have a striker last season, so it was kind of an outlier. City striker usually gets about 1 expected goal per 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So you can expect Haaland to be around that number. and you can expect him to finish his chances at about
fair level. Yeah, agree.
About that clip. And then when you calculate the minutes, you can get the goals he's gonna score, and we would say it's gonna go at.
I don't think he's playing a full 90 a lot.
That's the thing.
I would guess him 1900 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
that would
maybe
be my
something
guess.
like this, and that's not going to give you 25 goals.
No, it isn't. There's one wild card there. Will he take the pens? I don't think so, but he might take a couple.
I mean, Maris has pretty much nailed down pens at this point.
He plays half the time.
He does. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He might take a pen or two.
Yeah,
not enough to convince me that. No.
City doesn't they don't get that many pens either.
They should get a lot.
They should get a lot more, but that's another.
We are going to be talking loads more bets and loads more football, and just once and for all, when we say football, we mean the type where you kick the ball.
All the time, not some of the time.
Yeah, kick the ball all the time, unless you're the goalkeeper. That's it for this one, and we'll catch you after a short break.
The Magnus Effect is brought to you by UniBet. By players, for players.
So I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering about the World Championship recently. As many know, I was in Madrid for the conclusion of the Candidates Tournament. After the conclusion, I did agree to meet with Dvorkovic and Sutovsky from FIDE to talk a little bit. I did not have any demands or suggestions for that meeting. They did have a couple of suggestions, but the gist of it was that I was there to tell them that I would not defend my title in the next World Championship match. And we had a small discussion. They had some suggestions. Some of them I liked, some of them I did not. But ultimately, the conclusion stands. One that I'm pretty comfortable with. One that I thought a lot about for a long time now. I would say more than a year, probably a year and a half almost, since long before the last match. And I've spoken to people in my team. I've spoken to FIDE. I spoke to Jan as well. And the conclusion is, it's very simple that I am not motivated to play another match. I feel that I simply feel that I don't have a lot to gain. I don't particularly like it, and although I'm sure a match would be interesting for historical reasons and all of that, I don't have any inclination to play, and I will simply not play the match. It's been obviously an interesting ride since the moment I decided to play the candidates in 2013, which was, to be honest, on kind of a whim. I just at some point decided that I'm going to give the candidates a try. Could be interesting. And ever since, the World Championship title has obviously given me given me a lot. It's opened a lot of doors, and I'm happy about that. But the matches themselves have been at times interesting, at times a little bit of fun. The most fun match probably was the one in 2018. At least that was the most interesting one, and probably also for me had the least stressful moments, because it was the closest one, and it was one that I felt that obviously losing would have been very bad, but it wouldn't have been like the disaster that I considered losing any of the other matches. But overall, I feel like it's my time to go from the World Championship matches. I don't rule out a return in the future, but I wouldn't particularly count on it either. Just so there's no ambiguity here. I'm not retiring from chess. I'm still going to be an active player. I'm leaving later today to go to Croatia to play the Grand Chess Tour. From there on, I'm going to go to Chennai to play the Olympiad, which is going to be a lot of fun. Norwegian team are seated as number 4 there. Then to Miami to play one of the real highlights of the year, I feel, the FTX Crypto Cup, which is going to be awesome. And then right there, right after that, the next event after that in the Grand Chess Tour, the Sinkville Cup. So yeah, I got a lot of chess coming up. I enjoy playing tournaments a lot. Obviously, I join them a lot more than I enjoy the World Championship. And frankly, I don't see myself stopping as a chess player anytime soon. I hope to be able to edge closer to one of my other big goals, which is to make 2900 rating. It's going to be tough, obviously, but at the very least, I've managed to keep my rating this year, which, is at least it is something. It means that the goal is not further than it was earlier. Although it's tough, but we'll see. I'll just try and do the right things, trust the process, and enjoy. And frankly, I'm excited to get back to where I was back in 2011, 2012, started 2013, where I was all set on trying to improve, trying to be better, do the right things, play the tournaments, be the best in the world, and not care about the World Championship.
In terms of the World Championship, just do you feel like you have achieved everything you set out to when you started that journey now 9 years ago almost?
Well, it's more than 9 years ago since the candidates. It's hard to say. I don't think I had any other goals than to win it once. Then I thought I'll try and keep it as long as I'm motivated. That's fine. To be honest, 2016, I was not very motivated. I feel like I mostly played that match because other people sort of relied on it, expected me to, which was fine. It was not their fault at all. It was all on me for feeling that responsibility. I did have an Instagram post after the match in 2014, which was 2 down, 5 to go. I can reveal now that was just to mess with people. I never had a goal of winning 7 championships. I mean, I understand the whole thing about legacy and all of that, but to be honest, the last match, 4 championships or 5 championships, I understand for people who haven't been in that situation, it sounds weird, and I understand that I'm very, very privileged to have been there when a lot of people, they spend their life trying to do the same thing. But 4 championships to 5, it didn't mean anything to me. It was nothing. I was satisfied with the job that I'd done. I was happy not to have lost the match, but that was it.
Yeah.
The Magnus Effect is brought to you by UniBet. By players, for players.
And with that, welcome back to the last segment of the podcast. We're gonna crank it up a little bit. This is something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. Me and Magnus both are. We like waging about stuff. Like we like having these small competitions and we like having some skin in the game. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. And I feel like the bets that we have had before, painful as they may have been, they haven't heard enough. So it's time to crank it up a notch.
It's time. So this is going to be the last segment of every podcast we do. It's called The Wager. It's called The Wager for a reason. This is going to last for a whole year. Like, we're going to be competing against each other for a whole year. Every end of the podcast, we're going to do 3 different bets. So it could be bets on next week's football games. It could be bets on chess, even though that might be a little bit much of an edge for Magnus, but it could be basketball, it could be anything, right? So it has to be bets with 2 alternatives. It's win, lose, or over, under, or whatever. And both me and Magnus, we stand completely free to take whatever side we want. So we can take the same side on all 3 bets one week, even though that's boring.
Yeah.
But we're going to do this for a whole year. And we're going to calculate the points at the end of the Premier League season next year. And this is when it gets juicy, because both me and Magnus are massive meat lovers, without that sounding too weird. I barely have a vegetarian meal in my diet. I know I should, but I don't. And I know it's often the same for you.
Yeah, I can certainly do without, but I'd rather not.
Yeah. Only 2 days ago, we were feasting out at a Brazilian steakhouse, our favorite place to eat. It got messy, as it always does. But there's going to be an end to that. Okay. So what we're waging for on this year's wager is the loser has to cut out meat completely and go vegetarian for 6 months.
Yes. And just so you understand, so if we always bet on the same thing every week and we end up with the same score, then we both have to be vegetarian.
Okay, so if it's a draw, we both have to be vegetarian. It's close to impossible that it's a draw, so I'll take that. I could do a 10-minute long part here about how much I love I love chicken, I love fish, I really, really, really love lamb, and I love to spoil myself with some Kobe beef. Jesus Christ, I don't want to lose this bet. Yeah, I really, really don't want to lose this bet. Without further ado, let's do today's 3 over-unders. Let's write them down, and we'll keep going next time. So what we're doing this time is season bets. They're going to be worth double to have a little bit extra in the pot, right?
Yeah.
Normal weeks, the bets are worth The wagers are worth 1. Now they're worth 2 points, and we'll know the answer when the Premier League season is done. Okay, these are 3 random ones. You pick, I pick, you pick first, okay?
Okay.
Arsenal, over or under 64.5 points.
Ooh.
Like, all of these bets are the actual lines. It's not something I made up. These are the lines from the UniBet site.
That's a tough one. So they got a bit better. Other teams got better as well. This is really, really tough. You know what?
Zinchenko and Jesus in.
I believe in Arteta ball. I'm going over.
Okay, this is also one of the worst ones I could ever imagine, because I like their team. I really like the way they play sometimes, but I also do believe that Arsenal's just kind of cursed. I don't particularly rate Jesus or Zinchenko. They're both alright, but I really like Saka. I really like Ødegaard.
Yeah.
I like Martinelli a lot.
But the thing is, the young team that somewhat overachieved the last season, they sometimes regress a bit.
Yeah, I haven't checked though, but I'm gonna guess that United's line is about the same. Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, and City are gonna be over. There is a lot of points that won't need to go around. Both Liverpool and City are probably gonna be high 80s, 90s again. Okay, I'm cop out. I'm going over as well.
Oh, wow.
I was bullish on the over, but I almost talked myself into the under.
No, but the thing is, it's very, very hard to imagine them straying too far from this line also.
No, I think
because they have a good team, they're not gonna get 55 points. No, that's not happening.
It's
70
62 to 70?
Yeah, I mean 70, a lot has to go right for them to make 70.
Yeah. It's hard. It's a very good line.
Yeah, it's a very good line, unfortunately.
I would not recommend this bet.
No.
I could say that. Okay, so the next one is Raheem Sterling, over or under 13.5 goals for Chelsea. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm first.
Yeah.
I was looking Magnus dead in the eye, trying to get a read there. I'm definitely going under 13.5 goals for Sterling. Yep.
Oh, that's a tough one. I really wonder how Chelsea are going to look offensively. I mean, they don't have...
The problem is they might play him up front.
Yeah, they do. They don't have that... You know what? I'm going over. Okay. I just have a feeling.
I say definitely. It's not definitely, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the juice is already in the ball.
Is he a stealth top scorer candidate?
No, he is not. If you tell me he scored 18 goals, I would be shocked.
I think he's going to play a lot, though, for Chelsea.
He's so bad at finishing.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's not.
Yep, there's a difference between the over and under them.
No, he's not. He's an average finisher. He just shoots in a weird way, which makes people... And he misses... He has awful misses, and his technique is weird. Okay. That's the point. That's why people think he's an average finisher.
No, I got a question for you about the XG.
Yeah.
When he misses the ball, which he does quite often in plain air, from about 2 yards.
He catches a little bit of it.
Yeah, but does that count as XG when he actually just hits the air? I don't think it does.
When he doesn't hit the ball, no, but that doesn't happen that often. I don't think that's statistically significant.
Can someone who really knows XG find that out for us?
No, but I mean, shot-based XG is not part of for sure. But if he fluffs the shot, if he just shanks it, then it's a shot for sure.
Yeah, but he very often he misses his shooting foot and hits his standing foot. That happens.
Yeah, I don't think that's a shot.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
I would still say he's an average finisher. I believe in. Okay, I'm all aboard the Sterling train now. I'm gonna get him in my fantasy team.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So how is your fantasy team looking right now?
Fuck off.
By the way, none of us have made teams.
No,
guys, it's too early.
Yeah, it's too early.
It's too early.
You need to have the self-respect to at least pretend that you have a life in July, and don't start your fantasy team as soon as it comes out.
No, I very much agree.
Yeah. Okay, last one of the pod is Everton, over or under 44.5 points. Yeah, you see, I didn't just go with the big hitters.
No, these are...
Give the toughies a little shout.
These are interesting, very interesting lines. So under means that they're probably going to be in the relegation battle, or just
above it,
or one of those Watford teams that get to 40 points and then just coast. Which, to be fair, I think Everton did a few seasons ago. Like, they got to like 43 and then they didn't get any more points. So what do they have? They lost Richarlison, who was their best player.
I also want to say to people right now, just so they know, that we're doing a dark version of this. So there's no internet, no Googling. All you do now, you have to do off the top of your brain.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to research this shit.
Obviously. Obviously, you researched the shit before you gave me the bet, so that's a little bit unfair.
No. I will promise that I haven't, and I will also say that okay, I followed the Premier last year, so we follow it quite closely. But we will also get a third guy to choose out the bets for us going forward.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's nice
to make it even more fair.
Yeah. Anyway, so they lost Richarlison, who was their best player. They got Tarkovsky,
Winks.
Huh. I'm not sure I love the team. No, I'm going under.
Yeah, boring as shit. I'm definitely going under as well. Injury-prone Calvert-Lewin, and I have very little faith in Frank Lampard as a manager. I think they need to go down to make something of this team. I like Anthony Gordon, but that's about it.
I'm fine with Anthony Gordon.
Okay, so the big difference right now is the Sterling bet. Okay, we'll keep doing that. We will keep coming with these podcasts. This is it for the Magnus Effect. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
The Magnus Effect is brought to you by UniBet. By players, for players.